I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Burns.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Cottle. Herbie.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Southall.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Herbie?
Yes, I would move to excuse council members Cottle and Southall.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and second that we excuse council members Cottle and Southall. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the minutes. You all received copies of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Item number 3 is presentation. One presentation this evening. Chief, come up. Mr. Bob Wright. We have a plaque, and it reads, Forest Park City Council recognizes Bob Wright for 45 years of outstanding dedication and loyal service to the city of Forest Park, 1972 to 2017. Congratulations, sir, and thank you for your service to us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate this very much because it's been a labor of love. I came to Forest Park looking for a job, and obviously I found one. But nobody can stay anywhere for that length of time without being surrounded by good people. And from the governing body and even in the past governor bodies that are sitting back there, we have always been very fortunate to have extremely great people to work for. And like I said, from city government to department heads to the staff, they've given me an opportunity to do exactly what I wanted to do, so I still enjoy coming to work. And so I thank you for recognizing the fact that I'm still here, and we won't get 45 more, but thank you very much.
Bob, hold on just a minute. Chief, if you would.
Well, if he had his way, he'd probably give you 45 more, but I've been asked a couple of times, what do you say to a guy that's got 45 years on? I have some like jokes to tell about that, but I'm going to not do that because I promised him I wouldn't. But I thought that I pulled up just some interesting numbers that share his 45 years here, actually. And I've been very fortunate because out of those 45, I've been working with Bob for 38 of them. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. But I thought it was kind of interesting that I'm actually his fourth chief here. He wore the other 3 out that they left earlier, but I'm hanging in there with him. We've had 23 retirements since Bob retired in 1995. He was like the 3rd plaque on the wall. So there's like 23 more of them on there since he retired in 1995. And as you know, he retired as a police officer. He came back as our forensic and property room person, and that was, and he's been doing that for 22 years. And we've had 40 new employees come into the police department since Bob retired in 95. So, and he's probably seen like 8 different schemes of cars, and we went from slingshots to now automatics and those kind of things. So, you know, it's not very many of us could say that we can leave a lasting fingerprint or a legacy with the place that we work. And when you are one of those individuals that can do that, you should be very proud that you've done that and accomplished that. And I think Bob is one of them. So on behalf of the police department and myself personally, I got a best friend out of this and a much older brother is what I got, older. We're very fortunate to have him, and I congratulate him on behalf of the police department. And I don't know how much longer you'll have with him, but he's all yours as long as you can stay with him, I guess, because he's I think he's found his new way here for the last few years, and he'll probably give you a couple more, I think. So congratulations, Bob.
Yeah. Any comments from council? Councilwoman Holt.
45 years, that's a long time to be on any job. So we have to love you, and you have to love the city of Forest Park. Thank you for 45 years. Congratulations.
My pleasure.
You want to ask Councilwoman Herbie?
Bob, I had the fortune to be at your luncheon the other day, and I am in awe always of the length of time that our staff commits to us. And that has a lot to do with the leadership, and we've been very fortunate at that. And right now, we're in the process of trying to replace this man to my right. And it's going to be quite a task to find someone that will instill in our staff that those ideas of valuing what staff does and valuing people, because I know that's what keeps people here. So I applaud you, and I applaud our leadership as well.
Anyone else?
I am so happy that you shared with us your stories of after I asked you if you were anything like the CSI people that I see on television, and you explained to me how real life forensics is a lot slower and not as Hollywood as on television, but still to be around someone who has that bank of knowledge. I'm proud to know you. Thank you.
Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Bob laid a challenge on both the chief and assistant that when his hair turns a certain shade of black, that he would then retire. But they've obviously got him beat, so they will be leaving before he will. But no, congratulations, Bob. It's been a while since we've been on the golf course together. And so we need to do that at some point again very soon. I really appreciate your company and the commitment that you have given the city, the work that you do on the forensics. You know, the guys couldn't be as efficient, as effective as they, would be without you. So thank you for your commitment and for, staying with us and recommitting in 1995. That's huge. Thank you.
Well, Bob, one of the tests, if you would, of the value of any person is not only what his employer or his bosses think about him, but what people beyond that realm thinks. And when I was looking at the proclamation and listening to conversations, not just the other day at lunch, but throughout the years, and I see that all around the area, Bob Wright gets called to ask advice by others out there in that field and in that walk of life. And that's telling, because if you weren't doing it right, others wouldn't be asking you how to do it. So I would add my voice of appreciation to all those others that have been spoken. And I look forward to continuing to have you around. And as I said the other day, I don't want anybody to make a mistake here or to labor under the misconception. This is not, I repeat, this is not a retirement. So anybody who might think that or even might speak that, get that out of your mind. That's not happening. It's not going to be happening anytime soon. Bob, we look forward to your continuing to do the same job that you've done for us in the past. And that's just not, as Chief said, coming to work, drinking coffee, and sitting around. So we know what you do. Thanks, Bob. We really appreciate it. Okay.
I think our former mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak to Bob personally and
Okay.
the audience that might not know that he has a special place for me.
Brandon, would you come up to the mic, please, so that, Waycross can hear it as well?
He would never tell you, but Bob has a special place in my heart because I have a now 54-year-old son who went to high school here in Forest Park and was working part-time as a high school student in a store that was on the corner of Sharon and Waycross. It was a 7-Eleven, it was called in those days. It's a Sunoco gas station now. They have a mart there too, but working part-time after school hours, late sometimes into the night, he was accosted by a patron with a knife attempting to rob him. Bob was on the scene, coincidentally, and disarmed that person, an attempted thief, and saved my son's life. I give him eternal credit for that. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you all. At this point, we will move to item number 4, which is our communications from the public. And before we do that, as usual, if you gentlemen would care to leave, feel free to do so, but you're welcome to stay if you would, if you'd like. Thank you all for coming. Congratulations again, Bob, Chief, Captain, thank you all. Thank all of you. Okay, we're now at item number 4, communications from the public. This is a time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcription, and comments are limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to address council? Mr. Williams, would you come up and sign in?
Items relating to the Historical Society to bring to your attention. One of them is in response to your standing invitation to give a minute for history at a council meeting on a monthly basis if we can, and tonight is a night we have something prepared. With help from my wife, we have prepared a report for you on the Street Tree Committee. It is something I've written up and I will read, hoping to keep within the time limit prescribed. But I'll be willing to answer questions afterwards if any come up. Well, to start with the background, when Forest Park's developers began building houses in Forest Park in the late 50s, they planted fast-growing, inexpensive trees and shrubs. The tree species planted most often was the silver maple. This tree, along with other soft maples, has shallow roots, causing sidewalks to heave and sewers to clog. As these trees grow older, they also dangerously drop large branches. City Council recognized the problem, and in 1988 of that year, they found other cities doing street tree inventories and decided to do one in Forest Park and hired a consulting firm, ACRT, out of Kent, Ohio, actually, to do it. But they didn't have staffing, so prior to that, council, having already amended a 1985 ordinance creating the Beautification and Conservation Commission, added to that commission's responsibilities the responsibility for an urban forest forester to be hired and directing that person and whoever could be recruited to do the survey. So as an offshoot of the Beautification and Conservation Commission, a subcommittee was formed called the Street Tree Subcommittee. And it began meeting in April 1988, and they recruited 75 residents approximately and 36 National Honor Society students from the high school. And in May of '89, all of them were trained by ACRT in the Forest Park Library. They were taught how to identify tree species and record their condition. During that summer then of '89, the entire community was surveyed. 3,259 trees were counted, falling into 56 different taxonomic groups. Of that 56 taxonomic, those groups, 37% of the trees were found to be silver maples, and 64% were soft maples overall. Very undesirable trees to be in the planting strip. So then again, 49% of the trees were identified as interfering, improperly placed, and therefore interfering with automobile and/or pedestrian traffic. 80% were healthy, 17% were dying, and 1.1% were already dead. So following the survey, council decided to assess the property owners for maintenance, 10 cents per frontage foot, a maximum of $15 per household, and which would run from 1990 to 1997. An urban forester by the name of Tina Bruni Sumner was hired by the city to begin the park maintenance, or the urban forest maintenance, it's called, program. Now, prior to the survey that was done beginning in May of '89, 200 pear trees were given free for use as street trees on a first-come, first-served basis. In 1990, after the survey, the city gave away 200 honey locust trees, and in 1991, as a result of the implementation of the survey results, Forest Park was named a Tree City, USA, an honor which has been repeatedly presented to the city for 16 years. Now, upon looking into old editions, this is now going beyond that history, but bringing you up to date with something that we have in our records now that are being worked on by volunteers of the Historical Society. I found one recently that had published in March of 1974, a picture of a giant oak tree. It said in the text, it was thought to be, quote, 300 years old, the oldest tree in Hamilton County in '74. It was located on Harrogate, just south of Holderness, in the area near Forest View Elementary, unquote. That's in the caption to a picture of it. But it was on a lot that was donated to the city by the landowner, Joseph Kenter, at the time. But it's gone. Development took its toll. However, in spite of that, 2 oaks, major species in our city, have been saved. One of them is the bur oak on Kemper Meadow Drive. Some of you may have heard of it. It was a part of a display we presented at our 60th anniversary ceremony. The other is a swamp oak on Waycross across from Emeritus in an open field there. Very special tree. And there is also a stand of Kentucky coffee trees on a lot in the Kemper Meadow Business Park. It was saved from removal when that business park was developed, starting in '85. In any event, that's a quick run-through of the concern and support we've had for keeping the park in Forest Park.
Wow.
If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions?
Any?
No, but it's a segue into the fact that the Environmental Awareness Committee is assisting residents in replacing trees or adding trees to their properties. We help subsidize the purchase of approximately 6-foot high trees. We vary the species from year to year. And so if you're interested in that, get in contact with Wright Gwynn and our Environmental Awareness Program.
Very good, thank you. I have another different subject, which I don't think I've brought to council's attention before, but as a whole, but some of you individually know that there is a way, if you want to learn about our city, to do it on the internet by Googling our city's name. And you, if you do that, you will get a list of options to look at. One of them is our own website. Luckily, that's top of the line. But farther down, there is a Wikipedia entry that as of this summer, when I first got to looking into doing something in the nature of a history of the city, I looked and I said, well, what's there? Well, what I found there was a 4-page Wikipedia entry with sections having to do with geography, with history, demographics, and the census results for 2010 and 2000, education references, and external links. On the part of the entry that talks about history, there was just 2 sentences. Forest Park, these I'm quoting, Forest Park was founded in the 1950s. It said, according to historian James W. Lowen, it was founded as a sundown town. Semicolon. African Americans moved in beginning in 1967, and by 2000, Forest Park had become a majority-minority city. There's one truthful part and 2 totally untruthful parts of that sentence. It got in my head that upon looking at a website from outside the city, if, for example, you were an aspiring city manager replacement for Mr. Hodges, and you went to Wikipedia, you'd see something that totally, I view, misrepresents our city. And so, the Historic Society, at its Tuesday meeting this past week, was explained, were given a chance to review this, although they'd already last August been acquainted with this discovery of mine. But now was time to take action. And so 2 motions were made at our Tuesday meeting. The first was to explore Wikipedia editing with the assistance of Sam Ashworth and Chip Henderson. Sam Ashworth was the author of what represents the prologue or overview in our own website entry on Forest Park's history. And Chip Henderson is a longtime contributor and follower of Forest Park activities, including at one time being the developer of the Mill Road Station housing subdivision where one of your board members resides. One of the council members, and I think there are others within the city family that live there. So Sam and Chip together and I met after the Tuesday meeting and decided, let's see if we can't get a better picture on Wikipedia. And so, with the permission again given to me by a second motion at the Historical Society meeting on Tuesday, I was empowered to offer up to $500 of Historical Society funding to get this effort of revision started, if it took that much. So far, Sam, who did the original drafting of our overview, has, without charge, gone ahead, edited the Wikipedia two-sentence entry down to a 5-paragraph entry that gives history after the termination point of the history represented by this entry, which was attributed basically through a reference to Zane Miller. Zane Miller ceased to have an interest in our city, but the harm that he did with his publication in 1981 lives on unless you address it as we are entitled to do by editing Wikipedia. Today, I just learned, before coming to the meeting tonight, Sam, who was a little more adept in that kind of thing than I, went ahead and edited that harmful phrase right out of the entry and replaced it, as I say, with a new entry. I invite you all to go look at the Wikipedia entry on Forest Park. If you have a computer with you and it's online, you can go and look at it right now. In any event, we're not going to look the same ever again as that first reference based on Zane Miller's point of view misrepresented us, I should say. That's another item for your interest, and I'll answer questions, if any.
Any questions for Mr. Weir? Brandon, I want to thank you for all of the work you and the Historic Society has done in this effort. I know that that's been a burr under your saddle and ours for a while, and I'm glad that we, because I think a lot of people don't understand and don't realize that with Wikipedia, whatever you put out there, they do very little, if any, checking to make sure for accuracy. And fortunately, there is a process to make corrections. And I want to thank you all for undertaking that and doing it.
It's on the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public want to address council? Anybody else have anything else? Hearing none, thank you all. And we will now move to item number 5, reports of standing committees. The first of these reports is Human Resources, Councilwoman Holt.
I do not have a report tonight, thank you.
Are there any questions for Councilwoman Holt? Hearing none, Councilwoman Holt, I don't have any items for you for the work session on the 10th. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not, thanks.
Thank you. Next report is public safety. That's mine. I have no report. I will take any questions if there are any. And there are no items on the agenda for public safety for the meeting of the 10th. The next report is public improvement and facility. That's Mr. Southhouse. He's not here. Is there anyone who would like to report in his stead? Hearing none. Again, there are no items on the agenda for the work session on the 10th for public improvement and facilities. Next committee report is Ways and Means Committee, Councilwoman Herbie.
A report.
Any questions for Councilwoman Herbie? Hearing none, Councilwoman Herbie, I have one item on the agenda, miscellaneous fee schedule for you. Do you have any to add? Thank you. Next report is community development, Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report. However, I would like to express one thing, and not to take anything away from the great work that the Historical Committee has done with regard to the Wikipedia site. But if by extension, what was reported somewhat implies that anyone could make the adjustments that they made to that definition of the city with no governance and review. And I know the work that they did was in the best interest of the city, there is no question. However, I think after hearing that, it may be in the interest of the city to come up with a process to make sure then and ensure that any public image that is produced has gone through some level of vetting and authorized, whether it be by the city manager or staff or council. We probably need to figure that out because our public persona is important, as Brandon alluded to. But I think we need to come up with a process to make sure it sticks and is positive in every way all the time.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. I would say that probably that might be something that we want to have Ray and John to take a look at in terms of, because as I understand Wikipedia, anybody can send in anything. So if tomorrow somebody wants to send something in, they would be at liberty to do that. It's not, I'm not familiar enough with it other than from what little I know about people who have sent things in through Wikipedia. I don't know, for example, I don't know that we could stop anybody from sending anything in. I think the process is you are allowed to offer edit.
No question, and that's not the point I'm making at all.
Okay.
The point I'm making is there is a governance process to ensure that regardless if it's Wikipedia, the city website, or any other public definition of the city that we are aware of and can be aware of, the city has a say and is actively monitoring that, whether that be biannually, by whatever that period is, that the city is aware of it and there is someone who is clear about how to make those adjustments if they need to be made. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions for Mr. Burns? Mr. Burns, I have no items on the agenda for you for the work session. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Next report is Law Committee, Councilwoman Collins.
Mr. Mayor, I have no report from the Law Committee this evening. However, I do have a request that that we look into rejoining the Hamilton County Planning and Development Organization. On April 6th, I attended the annual Hamilton County Planning and Development, their annual meeting, and it was brought to my attention that we are the only city, certainly on the outer belt, and one of the few, period, in this area that does not actually belong to the organization. And it was called to my attention what their mission is and what the benefits are of being a member of it, and the fact that 5 years ago on back we did belong to it every year, and that it may have been because of budget cuts or some other reason that 5 years ago we stopped belonging to that group. And so I would like that placed on the work session for us to consider.
Okay, what I will do is I will ask Mr. Hodges to, along with Economic Development Director Paul Grimm, to look into the background of did we at one time belong, and under what circumstances was it that we do not belong anymore. I know that that we belong to a lot of the regional development groups. I don't know, seems to me that somewhere down the line I recall there being some talk of duplication. But at any rate, I'll ask the city manager and the economic development director to look into it and have something for us at at a future work session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Collins, I have no items on the agenda for you for Law Committee. Do you have any to add?
Not in addition to the information about the Planning and Development Committee.
Next report is Intergovernmental Relations and Communication. That's my committee. I have no report, but I would answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none, we go to item number 6, the mayor's report. I'll just report that, as I stated earlier, I did attend a luncheon in honor of Officer Bob Wright. It was very well attended, as those events usually are. And I want to again publicly thank him for his services to the city of Forest Park. That would end my report. I will answer any questions if there are any. Next item on the agenda is the city manager's report. Mr. Hodges.
Thank you. I'll only report that the departmental reports have been completed and placed on file with the clerk of council for public inspection, and that would conclude my report, but I would answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for our city manager? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Hodges. We go to item 7. Item 8, other reports. That would be the law director, Mr. John Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll let council know I reviewed a vendor's contract that was proposed for the finance department and recommended my thoughts to the department. And other than that, I have nothing else to report tonight. Oh, other than I will tell you, if you don't know, that Senate Bill 331, which is the cellular tower, micro towers, it is headed for a lawsuit. Several communities have filed for relief from that particular legislation.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next report will be Clerk of Council, Ms. Sally Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a report this evening.
Any questions for Clerk of Council?
No, but I have a question for the law director. Are we joining that lawsuit?
No,
Okay.
no. My feeling would be there's already several dozen communities piling on. It's not going to change whether a court's going to rule it's unconstitutional or not. So, I mean, it would cost us time and money. The lawsuit's filed in Cleveland area. So you don't want to pay for me to haul up to Cleveland all the time for something that other communities are already handling.
Okay.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 9, new business. First item on the agenda is item A, resolution number 09-2017. Would the clerk please read that resolution in full?
Resolution number 09-2017, a resolution confirming appointments to the 2017 Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council from the City of Forest Park. Whereas the Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council was established by the Hamilton County Commissioners to review the status of enterprise zone agreements granted to companies in return for their expansion in or relocation to our community. And whereas the City of Forest Park has prudently and judiciously used the Enterprise Zone program to successfully attract and retain businesses in our community. And whereas the City of Forest Park also presents information to the Tax Incentive Review Council on any tax increment financing projects in our community to evaluate their effectiveness in attracting investment and creating jobs. And whereas Hamilton County and the City of Forest Park closely monitor enterprise zone and tax increment financing projects for compliance to guarantee that the interest of local taxpayers are protected. And whereas the City of Forest Park has been requested by the Hamilton County Office of Economic Development to submit 2 people for appointment to the 2017 Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council. And whereas both appointees must be residents of the City of Forest Park and approved by the Council of the City of Forest Park. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, that the Council of the City of Forest Park hereby designates City Councilor Diana Herbie, and Economic Development Director Paul Brim to represent the City of Forest Park on the 2017 Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council. Section 2. This resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after the earliest date allowed by law.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Herbie?
Yes, I would move adoption of resolution number 09-2017.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 09-2017. Is there discussion, Councilwoman Herbie?
Just very quickly, this is an annual action which we do, and by custom, we have usually appointed the Economic Development Director and the Council Liaison to the Economic Development Commission, which is myself, and so I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. The motion to adopt Resolution 09-2017 passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, item B, is a motion. Mr. Burns.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to reappoint Mr. Wayne Coates from Forest Park and to concur with the Village of Green Hills reappointments of Melanie Hermes, Nancy Moore, Galena Radford, all to the Community Planning and Programming Board, Community Programming Board, Regional Council of Governments, and the CPB Holdings, Inc. Board for a term expiring 3/31/20.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that we adopt a motion reappointing Mr. Wayne Coates from Forest Park and Ms. Hermes, Moore, and Radford from Green Hills to the Community Programming Board, Regional Council of Governments, and CPC Holdings, Inc. Is there any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This board really is the governing body that supports the Waycross programming team, and this is a normal course of business when members' terms are about to expire. As was stated, Wayne Coates has been a member of that board for a while, and everyone was pleased with his performance. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is there any other business to come before the body? Any other business to come before the body? Hearing no other business,